I greet you all with the greetings of peace that obligates each and every one of us to keep the peace that is Salaamun Alaikum. We're beginning to grow in a dimension that we could not even predict, because the dimension has nothing to do with our skin tone or our skin color or the region of the world we were born in. The dimension has to do with what's taking place in us humanly. And I think that's the attraction that people who involve themselves in metaphysics will be most attracted to. That metaphysics is dealing with that which is beyond physics. So it's not stuck on the materialistic level. The popular culture is attempting to push the idea of superior blackness or superior melanin or superior physicality. And we're just beyond that now. They can't trap us. They can't catch us. We're way beyond that. And we're in a position now to begin calling all human beings across this planet back to their humanity. And if you don't situate what you're proposing as your identity, if you don't situate it upon true human essence, you're going to be in trouble, whether you're black-minded, white-minded, or in between. Now, the system that we are using is called Nunetics. As most of you, if not all of you know, Nunetics is based on an understanding of each and every consonantal letter that appears in the Arabic letter system. Now, if you're not familiar with Arabic, worry not. Do not fret. It doesn't make a difference. I don't speak conversational Arabic, and I choose not to, because most of my friends speak English. So I'm really not interested in just going to Arabic speaking parts of the world or to find little Habibi shops or whatever in my hood that speak. And it doesn't impress me to engage them in back and forth colloquial Arabic. I think them being here in America, they should be more engaged in learning English better so that they can communicate with the people who were here before them who speak English. If I'm going to go to Egypt or if I'm going to go to one of the Arabic speaking lands, then I'll learn enough conversational Arabic to order what I need in the store, to be cordial with people. But my main interest in Arabic is strictly geared towards reading the Quran, having a better understanding of a level of Arabic that is way beyond colloquial, way beyond standard, way beyond what the average person who speaks Arabic in the Arabic speaking world is familiar with. And most of those people who've been speaking Arabic from birth still can't read the Quran, although they say it's in Arabic. But it's in Arabic that is beyond their particular level of understanding. The Arabic of the Quran is connected to a letter system which itself is connected to what's called the fitrah in the Quran. And fitrah is simply the Arabic word for what we might in this part of the world call Mother Nature. So when you hear the word fitrah, if you're not familiar with it, just translate that into the patterns in nature. The English word pattern comes from the Quranic word fitrah. F and P are interchangeable in linguistics. So the F in fitrah is the P in pattern. The T in fitrah is the T, the double T, in pattern. And the R in fitrah is the R in the word pattern. The N at the end of the word pattern is a suffix. It was added later. It's not a part of the original root word. So the word is really pator from the Greek language. Petra, which means rock, stiffness, petrified. And that whole idea of something being petrified was being related to the creation itself, the material creation. See, the Petra, or the rock. They call us the third rock from the sun, the planet Earth. So the fitrah represents all things within physicality or materiality, all things in the world of matter. Everything in the world of matter has an intrinsic pattern built into it as the source creator created it. So whatever we can point to, even things in the so-called invisible world, such things as air, that kind of thing, things that are colorless, such as water, they all still have a particular pattern. If you're out in the breeze, you can't see the air, but you can feel its direction. Whether it's coming northernly, southerly, easternly, westernly, these are all winds that are predicted by the weather forecasters. It's invisible, but they still know what direction it's coming in because it still has a pattern to its movement. So the fitrah is based on pattern recognition. Just as the outer world of materiality has its respective patterns, there's an internal world that the human being is engaged in that also has patterns, although most of those patterns are invisible. They are called spiritual patterns, and they are invisible within us, and they consist of such things as emotionality, how we feel about things. You can't put your hands on your feelings. Your feelings operate based on an electromagnetic nervous system that's running up and down everybody's spine. You can see the spine, you can see the nerves, but you can't see the feelings that are being registered upon that electromagnetic cord. So the human being is both physical as well as so-called spiritual. And I say so-called spiritual because I don't want you to confuse what's spiritual with what is spooky. Spooky is a product of your own mind. Nothing in creation is spooky, meaning everything that the source creator, called Allah in the Quran, called other names, other beautiful names in other religions, everything that source creator created, he created it to be recognized and actualized. And as the ancient Egyptians used to say, as above, so below, meaning everything that you have out there is actually in you also. They said everything without is also within. So they said as above, so below, and as without, so within. So that means that the human being is a microcosm of the macrocosm, creation that has been created. So if you want to know how you operate as a true human, you don't have to create a $1 million spaceship and go out into space and start exploring the universe out there. All you have to do is start making connections with that internal universe that God has created in here. Everything out there is in you. And this is what the Quran tells us also. God says in the Quran that in the construction of the skies and the earth are instructing signs. And in you, the human, there are like signs, similar signs to everything that's out there. But the Quran says most people go on paying it no mind. They are heedless of the instructions. So most of us engage creation as people interested in what are called aesthetics. That's a fancy word for what is beautiful. We love the sunrise, we love the sunset, we love sitting on the beach, putting our toes in the water at the shore, and we get a thrill out of that. Going on vacation and, sunny parts of the country or the world or whatever. And we get a thrill out of that. But we're not in the habit of converting that beauty into instructions. Because the same beauty that you see in the sunrise also has built into it particular instructions for the human mind to register, as well as for the human soul to be able to absorb. For what? For the sake of growth and for the sake of human production, not racial production, human production. I make it a point to try to bring you fresh information, fresh off the vine, that you can begin chewing on and allowing it to contribute to your greater growth as human beings. And in case you didn't get the memo in terms of what a human is, according to the meaning of the English word human, human means humus, H-U-M-U-S, man, and man means mind. So human means humus, mind. Humus is soil, just like the farmer works with. Just like that in your front yard or your backyard, that has been given moisture content. So when you water the plant that's stuck in the soil, that's what's going to contribute mostly to the growth and the production of that plant. That plant won't be able to give you those tomatoes or those strawberries or that watermelon in the backyard or in the farm, in the field. It's not going to be able to give you any produce if you do not first make sure that the soil has been conditioned by moisture, by water, by rain, or by water that you actually bring it. If that part of the word human is referring to that, then how are we to apply that to ourselves internally? What you have to begin to do is pay closer attention to words. English, Arabic, whatever you're speaking, Hebrew, Greek, whatever. Pay closer attention to the formation of words, how they sound, and what other words might sound a bit like that word. So if you look at the English word soul, you can hear the connection with the word soil. It's just one letter away. Soul, soil. The very wise people who constructed most of the languages on this planet were gifted with the ability to make what I call consonantal connections in language. That means that they had detected that there's a synchronicity between letters that sound a particular way, like the letter S, and the letter S sounds like S in every language that utilizes that letter. Doesn't matter. Latin languages, Spanish languages, Portuguese, French, German, Bantu, doesn't matter. Anywhere on the planet that they have a word that has the S sound, although it's a different language, it's the exact same sound, whether it's T, T, D, D, S, the throat sound of Kha in many languages like Arabic and Hebrew, the SH sound like Shalom, Aleichem in Hebrew. We say Salaamu Alaikum in Arabic, sister languages. And the sounds that are to be pronounced from the throat and from the mouth, generally speaking, are 7 in total. And here's the key. The human mouth can only pronounce 7 basic sounds. No matter where you are on the planet Earth, your mouth cannot pronounce any more than 7 basic sounds that come from different departments or compartments of the mouth. So there are sounds coming from the back of the throat. They're called gutturals, such as K, K, Q, Kh, KH, Ra, GH, G, gorilla, G, J, jump, J comes from the back. All of those sounds I just mentioned and pronounced for you come from the back of the throat, and they're categorized under one category called gutturals because they're from the gutter of the throat, the back of the throat. Then we have other sounds. I'm not going to go through all 7. If you're new, you can request that from me and I'll email you the chart on that called the Consonantal Connections chart, and you'll be able to see for yourself where these 7 sounds emanate from and how they are to be interchanged when you're dealing with what words mean and how words are connected to other words that have similar or the same sounds. And again, doesn't matter what language you speak. If I give you the word SALAAM, as I just gave you, that's an Arabic word that means safety, security, peace. But if I told you that the S sound is connected to the K sound, and you know it from the word circle, 2 C's, but one sounds like an S, sir, the other one sounds like a K. It's the C sound, but the C doesn't have any independent sound. English is a kind of tricked language, so you have to know how to navigate the English language. But it's really the S and the K sounds, and they can be interchanged in language. So if I give you the word SALAAM, which is SLM, I can give it to you in English through the word calm, which again is C, but it's pronounced K, calm, which is CLM. SALAAM, SLM, S and K sound are interchangeable, so SALAAM is also calm. So if you want to know what SALAAM means when you're giving it to somebody in Assalamu alaikum, you're wishing calmness upon that person. You're recognizing that that person is a bit agitated, maybe, or that person is a bit nervous for whatever reason. And the ultimate wish or even prayer that we can ask for somebody is that God bring them calmness. This is what all of the prophets were about. Jesus, they understood him. In fact, they called him the Prince of Peace. And the Bible also mentions, blessed be the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. It's a term that Muslims don't use. What they mean by children is simply dependents, like children are dependents on their parents. It doesn't mean you are the physical child of a God. God doesn't have physical children. You are the total and absolute dependent of God. So that's the only frame that we would accept that statement, children of God. So the peacemakers are supposed to be the children of God. And that's what the word Muslim or Salam, Mu means one who is, Salam, one who is peaceful, calm, resigned, creating an environment of safety for oneself and for others. So if you find people in the world who are calling themselves Muslims, but their attitude is not one of creating peace, then just consider that to be a label that does not fit the content. They can call themselves Muslims all they want. Christians can say Christians and be out here doing everything that the Bible says don't do. Jews can call themselves Israelis or whatever and be out here doing all of the things that their scripture tells them not to do, warns them against doing, how they treat other people, etc. So these people are wearing labels, but the labels are not true to the content. What we are attempting to do in our investigation of words from the Quran and the Bible, Hebrew, Arabic, Aramaic, all of these languages we explore, we're attempting to identify what the content should be in the human being so that the labels that we wear as Christians and Jews and others can match the content. It's really that simple. That's what we're trying to do. Help the content match the label on the can. You know, if you have a can of tuna and it's sitting in the cupboard too long, too many years, and you go to open that thing and it's way past its expiration date, you open that can of tuna, people are going to run out your house because of the smell. And that's how many of us are as Muslims and Christians and Jews. We hate to see you coming. We see you down the block, knocking door to door. Oh, here they come, you know, because the content does not match the label. The label says God, and God created all of us fair share, fair square, equal with each other, human potential. But then the spiel that these religious people give you is we're the chosen ones of God and the rest of you are just here to serve our interest. See, you know, that doesn't sound right. Muslims say we're the only ones going to paradise. The Christians and the Jews don't have a chance unless they become Muslims, you know. These other ones won't be counted in the 144,000 chosen of God because they haven't accepted our particular religion and our way, in the way we see Jesus and the way we see God and the way we see each other. And they kind of cancel out the majority of humanity. All religions do this. All religions have been tricked into canceling out the majority of human beings on this earth in favor of some narrow-minded ideology that doesn't accommodate all of humanity unless you accept it through their funnel, through their language, through their funnel. If I say I'm a Muslim, I go into the mosque or the masjid and you say, Assalamu alaikum, brother, and I say peace to you also. They'll look at me funny because I didn't give it back in this foreign language called Arabic, but I gave it back in the language that I speak. So what's wrong with that if it means the same thing? But people get so tied up and tied into these kind of nuances that make absolutely no sense when you put them on the register or the scale of rational explanations for things. They don't measure up. So we're here to take everything that we are learning and put it back on the scale of what's called the fitrah, the natural patterns that Allah has created in the universe and in us, as a reflection, a microcosmic reflection of the universe.